The question on our sort of strap at the bottom of the screen there was two-tier justice, question mark. Is this two-tier justice, do you think?
Yes. And why should that be afforded to one ethnic group over the majority ethnic group?
It's not afforded to...
There are poor people, there are single mums who are white.
Ditto. It's not afforded to one ethnic group over another. And this is what I hate about this debate. And the reason why...
This debate was over the new sentencing laws that mean judges will consider a criminal's race and religion before sentencing them. In other words, black people and Muslims will be given shorter sentences than white people and Christians. Let's just tell it how it is. That's the aim of the new law. This odious woman defending that law, but trying to argue it is not racist, is one of the most divisive, hateful racists in British politics. I have to say anti-white racism, because when we say racism, it normally just means white people being racist to ethnic minorities. Though the default position of racism is fast becoming racism against white people. Let us remember, this woman uploaded a video on social media saying black people are the chosen superior race and white people are the wrong weird race. She even used racial science and eugenics in the video, anthropological and anatomical images of skulls. She's since removed that part. Imagine the reaction if a white person put out a video even half as racist as that. They would be jailed, let alone lose their job. Yet she's a Labour MP and no one uttered a word. No doubt half the Labour Party probably agrees with her. That's why she's free to push such racism without consequences, while people are being locked up left, right and centre for being considered far right. She asks her opponent directly, do you think black people getting harsher sentences for the same crime is wrong? He says of course it is. Then he asks her if it's wrong the other way around. No answer, of course not. This is what it looks like when a reasonable, sensible person who doesn't judge people by the colour of their skin debates a radical black supremacist who hates white people. Take a listen.
I mean, the question on our sort of strap at the bottom of the screen there was two-tier justice, question mark. Is this two-tier justice, do you think?
Yes, and I think there's two things wrong with this. A is the guidelines themselves. I think it's dreadful that you basically say to someone like me that my sentence should be different just based on the colour of my skin and my gender and my sexuality or whatever than someone else. But the wider thing that it's exposed is how much has changed in modern Britain in recent years because of bodies that are not accountable to anyone. And I think a lot of people will find it shocking, even if we're on the other side of the debate on this, that this was not a decision that was put to us as people. It was not debated in Parliament. It was not set out there by any government minister. It was a bunch of civil servants who answer to nobody at an arm's length body who decide that they're going to change something quite fundamental about our law and criminal justice system. And I think at that level, at a very, very deep and profound level, we've really got to bring accountability and control back into the democratic realm.
So there's a couple of things here. So I'm pleased you said that you shouldn't be judged differently because of the colour of your skin. So if I was to tell you that black and brown people get judged more harshly because of the colour of their skin, what would you say to that?
I would say that it's probably a number of factors, because if you have a white, thuggish, working class boy versus a very well-presented, posh South Asian woman who may have gone to Oxbridge, I think the white guy is going to come off worse. So I think there are other factors, like economic factors. I know it's an uncomfortable thing to say, but you have to recognise that class, economic achievement, what you achieve at school is as relevant as the colour of skin.
But what would you say if I told you it's factual that the colour of your skin means that you're twice as likely to get a harsher sentence, you're 18 times more likely to be stopped and searched, you're 5 times more likely to die in police custody? What do you say to that?
We have rightly tried to address those things.
Is it right or wrong?
We've rightly tried to address these things throughout my entire lifetime. What we cannot do is, in addressing one wrong, create another.
No, okay, but
discrimination and bias works two ways.
But are you able to say that's wrong?
Yes, and we've rightly tried to address it. But are you able to say that if you change one form of discrimination for another, so that is equally wrong? Or is it fine? Is it one way?
No, it's definitely not one way. I would rather have a system where you judge people by the crime that they've committed,
Exactly.
and everybody gets a fair sentence.
Exactly.
Now, that is a system that I would like to happen.
Me too.
Unfortunately, there is bias in that system. So when they reviewed the sentencing, this is what they found, right? So yes, that ideally, that's what I'd like to see. Now, pre-sentencing reporting is really important. When I was a magistrate, we would get pre-sentencing reporting so that we know the person that we're going to sentence, right? So there's no point in sentencing somebody who's a single mum that's got 3 kids, because you sentence that person to jail, then you're going to have to deal with the children. You're going to have to deal with the fact that, you know, the children will have to go into care, they'll probably lose their home, and then that has a huge knock-on effect. So pre-sentencing reporting is really very important. And so
why should that be afforded to one ethnic group over the majority ethnic group?
It's not afforded to...
There are poor people, there are single mums who are white.
Ditto. It's not afforded to one ethnic group over another. And this is what I hate about this debate. And the reason why Jenrick, who I think is disgraceful the way he does politics, the reason why he's saying this discriminates against Christian white men and boys is because he knows that's the group that's currently feeling quite disenfranchised because people like him are saying things like this that are incorrect.
And that may well be so, but the Justice Secretary, who is a Muslim woman of colour, is of the same view that this is wrong.
Listen,
so we can park Jenrick.
At the end,
your Justice Secretary in a Labour government who's a Muslim woman of colour is rightly heroically calling this out.
Look, this isn't,
and calling out the people you refer to as they.
This isn't heroic.
Who are not democratically representing any of us.
We're going to have the uncomfortable conversations about discrimination and racism in structures within our society. It doesn't mean that you are then replacing one discrimination with another. It's an uncomfortable discrimination. But by saying that white, working class, Christian men and boys are being discriminated is absolutely incorrect and wrong. And it does a disservice to society. And it's creating tension where there doesn't need to be. And it annoys the hell out of me.
I can tell.